Wow, the guitar's been my ticket to adventure, really. Passport to adventure.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, yeah, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
The best thing about my life really is being alive, because like 3 other brothers of mine who died of malnutrition, I could have been one of them, and I wasn't. And I was born with so many strikes against me. You know, I was born sick. I was born really poor. I was, you know, not having sight. Maybe at that time they thought it was a strike. I thought it was a strike against me, but somehow I survived through it all.
I saw him a lot of times around town, you know, in different little clubs and things like that. And then he made his record, Come On Baby, Light My Fire, and look out, the fire was lit.
In this edition of Cover Story, we're going to New Orleans to join José Feliciano and his wife Susan as they sightsee in the French Quarter and sail the Mississippi on the steamer Natchez. We'll see José perform in New Orleans' famous Blue Room and at the Vina del Mar Festival in Santiago, Chile. Born in Puerto Rico, José came to New York's Spanish Harlem when he was 5. In his teens, he became a professional musician on the New York club circuit and began to establish himself as a Latin music star worldwide. In 1968, José's version of Light My Fire put him at the top of the U.S. charts. In 1982, Susan and José were married.
I was 17 in high school, and José was going to be performing in my hometown in Detroit, and I got a chance to meet him. We became fast friends and soulmates, and here we are. I like to think of myself as his sounding board. If he has a problem or an idea or a scheme or a plan, it's all kind of so ingrained into his music, and his life are so close. We share a lot of his ideas and thoughts and decisions, though the decision is his, you know, as I think with any household. I take care of his personal business as personal secretary.
Well, Susan has a lot to do back home, you know, just taking care of the house and making sure that it runs right. But I think it's good, though, that one travels alone, because it gives everybody, you know, needs a certain amount of space to think things out, to miss the one that you love, those kind of things. If you don't have a chance to miss the one that you love, then the relationship doesn't grow. I disagree with the belief that the eyes are the window of the soul, because the only window to the soul, man, is what you say, what you do. That's really the window to the soul. Eyes can be very deceiving, man, you know. I was born in 1945 in Puerto Rico, and really I was not fortunate insofar as being born in a hospital, having any medical attention. I lived in a very noisy neighborhood. I guess I did have some frightening experiences in New York, like I had when I was traveling, and I traveled by subway. I remember one time I fell down the subway track because I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't see the edge of the platform. But also New York, there was a kind city. There were a lot of good people in New York who were very kind. And of course, when I was in my later teens, I loved New York because I went to the Village, and that's where I met all of my folk musician friends and listened to jazz and things like that. When I was about 16 or so, I used to play in the Village. And I had a gig in the Village at a place called the Cafe Id. And I'd play there every week. And of course, I didn't really get what you call a salary. They used to pass the hat, you know, because of the cabaret laws in New York City. So I made a little bit of money, but real money, though, I made in 1965 when I signed with RCA. And I played Dirty's Folk City, and I earned $200 a week.
José Feliciano's first album went gold, and since then, José has made 38 additional gold albums in countries worldwide, plus a number of hit singles. including Light My Fire and the theme from the hit television series Chico and the Man.
If you try now.
I used to get home from school at 3 o'clock. Pop would get home around 6, so I had 3 hours to listen to rock and roll music. And that was the kind of music I liked, and then I got into classical guitar, and I would listen to Segovia. I studied classical guitar when I heard Segovia playing classical guitar. I started at the age of 16 with a teacher named Harold Morris, and he taught me basically, he had to restructure my fingering because up until that point, when it came to bar chords and things of that nature, I learned that all by myself, and I wasn't doing the bar correctly. So he taught me, in that sense, he straightened out my fingering. But basically I had taught myself, and I knew how to play the instrument.
One thing that Jose did that I remember being very impressed with early on, it was in the folk clubs, was when he used to translate Chopin preludes and certain classical pieces to the guitar fingerboard, and things that weren't written in the fashion that they could be easily played on the guitar. And he would riff one off, and if you knew that piece on piano, then you could be deeply impressed.
And so then he began teaching me classical, such as the first thing he ever taught me was the Villalobos Etude, and then I learned the Prelude, and then I learned the Bach Prelude in D minor. And so he taught me a lot of great things, and he was a great guitarist himself.
It was pretty unusual. Then, of course, he would play Flight of the Bumblebee right after that, and tell a funny joke, and his dog would bark, and you'd get the feeling that he was just an okay guy. But within that, he had this virtuoso quality.
All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray.
In 1967, where did I wind up? I wound up in California. I was playing the coffee house circuit there. Places like the Ash Grove, the Hungry Eye in San Francisco.
I went for a walk on a way.
As soon as I landed in California, because I remember leaving on a cold winter day in New York, landed in California, it was nice and warm, it just got me, it hit me. I said, heck, I love New York, which I always will, but New York there's no open spaces, everybody's kind of like boxed in, so I moved out. When I did the Star Spangled Banner, I got a lot of flack in 1968 for that, for trying to be a patriot and trying to, it wasn't anything that I planned. I didn't plan to I didn't say, well, I'm invited, so I'm going to go and do it so I can cause a ruckus. No, I just sang it the way I felt it, and for having feeling, and for feeling the way I do about this country, I was punished for it.
Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light?
He was on, I guess, national television, and it was José Feliciano, and he sang the song, and he did it his way, and the announcer said, well, I think that's an insult. I don't know what he said. Whatever he said was wrong, because he put this man in a very bad light. And José, I know for a long time I know José. José is a good person. He's funny, he's crazy, but he's good, he's nice.
Our national anthem is not that perfect that it isn't improved upon just a little. And, I think that that's what musicians are here for. Francis Scott Key was just a musician, so I think that's great. I think, besides that, you can't keep Jose from improvising on anything. On anything. There is no stock way the song goes when it's in Jose's hands.
I always get the feeling that when the name José Feliciano is approached to certain people, like for the national anthem or whatever, they shy away from me as if I don't know, as if I'm going to cause a controversy or make some kind of trouble.
Well, I got
Friends, if anything, that's what I think has kept me in the public eye where a lot of artists would be gone right now. Trends, and I've also been a trendsetter. I mean, up until me, really, no guitarist had ever tried to use a nylon string guitar on a rock and roll record. Up until me, in a sense, like nobody had really thought of getting into more Latin music, really. If it weren't for those markets, I don't think that I would have the food on the table and the house that I have. The Latin market and Europe have really, literally saved my life in these few years because of the fact that not having a real good opportunity with a record company, or once I got on a record company, they just didn't promote me.
Gosh, I saw all the gold records on his wall, and I would never have thought that he had not achieved success in America like he did in South America.
Record companies, by not giving me a chance, they don't know whether I can get a hit or not, and I know I can, but I've been, it's one of those things that I guess I have to live with for a little while. I wish that I could be as important an artist in my own country, in America, but it doesn't seem that way right now. But I'm not, I don't let it bother me because there's so many good things happening. Every artist that has left everything to other people and not been directly involved himself has always wound up the loser in many ways. So as soon as I met Susan, it was one of the things that even she helped me to do. And people know I'm married, but Susan and I, we first of all, she knows that I have to travel. It's hard at times because really, like if an artist should be out on the road a month up to 6 weeks sometimes, because when you travel, once you're out there, it's expensive to keep the upkeep and things. So you have to be out there and do as many shows as you can. But what I try to do is, if I work a lot, I'm off a lot.
When he's not performing or on the road, he's writing, or in one way or another, he's very musical, and so you can call that a workaholic. He's always thinking of his craft, of what he wants to do next.
A lot of performers become workaholics, and they forget that there's another person in their life, and so they don't invest the time, and so then all of a sudden they wonder why their marriage isn't working out, why their relationship isn't working out, and it's because they haven't put anything into it, or the time into it. And you've got to make time to make time. You've got to take time to make time is my philosophy.
He was born blind, and I think that makes a whole different picture. When he was little, the word see meant to experience something by tasting it or touching it or smelling it. It's the same now,
One of the things my wife doesn't like when I go sightseeing is that when she's window shopping, I look at the window. I look right into it, as if I were a little indignant. She goes, crosses her arms, When you're blind from birth, it's a whole different ballgame than if you lose your sight. So as far as I'm concerned, no, I don't feel blind. I don't shuffle my feet. I don't bump into walls. I am not complacent with society when it comes to, well, accept your blindness and this is all we can offer you. No, I don't buy that. The French Quarter? Oh, there's so many things going on, man. Now you smell a lot of restaurants. One of my favorite places to go in the French Quarter is Pat O'Brien's, Patty O'Brien's. They have a drink which is real delicious called a Hurricane. And the French Quarter, man, has smells. It's got sounds. You got Bourbon Street because you got the jazz and everything like that. It's not a dark world. It's not a world where you don't see what's happening. It's a world where you do see what's happening. And at least for me, man, I see everything the way everybody else sees it.